Hello everyone, Richard Lewis here with another video, and today we're going to be talking about something that we've talked about before on this channel. It's one of our favorite recurring themes, and that's basically people from the social justice warrior movement. I mean, I always feel a little bit silly using the term social justice warrior. I kind of feel what started out as a kind of online label isn't necessarily appropriate anymore for a very real ideology, and in some cases I guess it's almost like a religious cult, but let's just use that term so you all know what we're talking about. And it's people who virtue signal, once again getting caught out and being proven to be liars, hypocrites, or to be everything that they've railed against. It's happened consistently, going right the way back to when I first started getting woke up to it after the Gamergate movement. Was pilloried in the press and completely lied about and misrepresented. And lo and behold, one of those same people who came out and critiqued Gamergate, saying it was full of misogynists, has been accused of sexual assault. It's Devin Faraci. Now, you might not know him if you follow this channel, but he's a film critic. You can just imagine the type of gibberish that comes out his mouth. If you want to have a look at him, here's this IMDb biography, and you can tell from his face, he's one of those, he's got the look of a male feminist. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, let's just say that, mate.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I think that's reasonable, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah.
Reasonable.
We're still safe for now.
The look. I mean, I think that's almost like a Hemingway-esque description. The look of a male feminist. So anyway, it is biography here. You can see Devin Faraci describes himself as a blogger and former editor-in-chief of the film website Birth Movies Death. You'll notice former. That's a recent development based off this story. He got his start on Chud, how appropriate, a movie fan site, leaving in 2010 to launch the website Birth Movies Death, which is backed by the cinema chain Alamo Drafthouse. He's also served as co-host of the Canon podcast on Earwolf. Now, this guy has come up, quite a lot as just a recurring asshole because he's entered into that twilight zone lots of critics find themselves in, which is rather than just critique something, rather than just do the job, it doesn't satisfy them. They get upset. They have these existential crises. And look, I understand it. Everybody wants to be doing something more important. I share your pain. I write and talk about competitive gaming for a living. As I get older, I ask myself those questions like, should I be doing something else? Should I be doing something more important? But what I don't do is subvert talking about esports to talk about those issues. I just do my job, and if I ever want a change, I will go and take another job. That's how you're supposed to do things. What I don't do is be like, I wonder if I can talk about the issues I want to talk about in an esports context. So, for example, Olaf Meister there, he's made a clutch, but the way that he celebrated by teabagging the opponent is this rampant misogyny in esports. And I don't want to subvert something that's completely pure just to talk about my issues. And you see lots of critics do this, and Devin Faraci just started to lose his fucking mind. Now, before we even get into some of his greatest fucking hits and the allegation itself, this is a recurring theme. This happens all of the time. This is something where if anybody is virtue signaling that they're definitely not a racist, definitely not a sexist, definitely ultra progressive. Look at me. Look how cool I am. And if they take it upon themselves to say to you, this is how you need to live your life in line with my values, and they do it incessantly because, look, the vast majority of us, we're not sexist. We're not racist, are we? We're fucking just normal people, If anybody is doing that, they more than likely have a terrible skeleton in their fucking closet. Almost certainly. Because it just happens time and time again. I'll give you some examples. What about the Oxford student, feminist, and anti-rape campaigner Annie Teraba, who literally was campaigned talking about rape? She was one of the advocates for male students having to go to consent classes and all this sort of gibberish. Well, turns out two women who had allegedly been sexually assaulted by her came forward, and she had to stand down after making an apology. So, again, how bizarre. The thing you're campaigning against is actually your secret proclivity that you do in private. Famously, in recent news, we've got the Crash Override Network logs being leaked out, and we've got a show lined up with Ian Miles Chung. That's going to happen a little bit later, but for those that missed that, and I don't blame you, because mysteriously the mainstream games press didn't write about this. They wrote extensively about Gamergate being a harassment movement. When presented with real evidence of a harassment group, chat logs, an organized harassment group, they didn't report it. They didn't report it because, we've actually we've written positive articles about some of the people in those logs, so that would kind of dismantle our entire 2 years of narrative. So the Crash Override Network was a company set up to stop online harassment, to act as a support network, a support resource for people who were the victims of it. And in the chat logs, guess what they're doing? They're doxing people, conspiring to harass people, even pathetically on Christmas Day, talking about who they're going to fuck over. Like, you having a good Christmas? Yeah, I opened a present. What was in it? Sadness at my empty life. Yeah, brilliant, right? Yeah, just pure fucking sadness and about the same. Shall we harass someone that said something we disagree with? Disagree with us? Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, disagreements, harassment now. Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, look, this box. Fucking awful sad cunts. Awful, sad people. And basically, again, they were set up to specifically combat something. They decided the best way to combat it secretly was by engaging in the practices that they were decrying as being unacceptable. There was another story. This is in April this year. There was a pastor in Austin, Texas, a super liberal and progressive place. It's one of the great cities in America. And this pastor who was for gay rights, and was a big advocate of gay marriage. He sued a baker at Whole Foods for allegedly writing "Love Wins Fag" on top of a cake that he ordered. And lo and behold, it was a hoax. He'd done it, as proven by security TV. So he tried to...
The best part is, right, he just tried to sneak in a cake into another thing. You'd think he would have done it better than that, you know what I mean?
I know. But here's the point. These people think, that people will believe the worst about people. That obviously we're all homophobes, right? We're all misogynists. We're all evil. And of course, again, it's just not true. When I was at Breitbart, and obviously, I make no bones about it. I don't agree with everything that was published at Breitbart. I don't consider myself somebody who drank the right-wing Kool-Aid. But their tech section had a lot of people I respected. I was very close friends with, and still am, with Milo Yiannopoulos. I make no bones about it. Alan Bakari. These are talented people. There's other guys over there. Charlie Nash, and it just good. It was a good team of people. We covered. Some pretty good stories. And when I was over there, I picked up on the story from Keene University students, where a 24-year-old, I think a post-grad, if I remember correctly, Kayla Simone McKelvey, left an anti-racism protest to go and use the campus library. I mean, how was she going to get caught, Sam? And created a Twitter account to issue racist death threats to the people she was campaigning with, making her guilty of the fucking crime. These people are out of their mind.
Yeah, what's with this obsession of bullying themselves? The pastor called himself a fag. These guys just shouting racial abuse at each other.
But this is the thing. In trying to create the narrative, they become guilty of the thing that they're shouting so much about. It's almost as if, and I've said this quite a lot, like inherent in every victim, culture, when somebody really has this, victim mentality, it's like they're sad that it didn't happen to them. Yeah. They're sad it didn't happen to them. It's a very fucking bizarre phenomenon. So anyway, it wasn't a surprise when this came out, but, go on. So a Twitter account, called, I believe it was Space Crone, she tweeted at Devin Faraci, and it was in the aftermath of all of this Donald Trump nonsense, that ridiculous hot mic from 2005, grab him by the pussy, pathetic thing to say. And, fucking Devin Faraci, of course, coming out and doing his bit. And this lady came forward on Twitter and basically said to him, quick question, do you remember grabbing me by the pussy and bragging to our friends about it, telling them to smell your fingers? I've been forced to think about you a lot since these Trump tapes come out. Right? So this guy, who has always been this holier than thou, I'm so right on, just one of those really fucking I'm so ultra progressive, was accused of this. Now, here's what I would do. First of all, this is somebody making an allegation. If you didn't do it, you got to defend your position. I mean, seriously, this is a serious accusation. Mm-hmm. This is sexual fucking assault. If you didn't do it, definitely come out and say you didn't do it. But unfortunately, when you're a right-on feminist, you get caught in this listen and believe ideology. And let's be clear, what Listen and Believe was intended to do was create a safe space for victims of sexual assaults and rape to be able to report their crimes without judgment, and to be taken seriously, because we know the reporting to conviction rate of these crimes is incredibly low, and that suggests that maybe some people are getting away with it. A lot of people say it also suggests a lot of these allegations are fake. I try not to be so damning of human people, if the human mind, but obviously some people will make it up. Now, unfortunately, when you join this kind of progressive cult, you're stuck having to adopt it all whole cloth. So there's only two ways to interpret his response, which was, I do not remember this. I can only believe you and beg forgiveness for having been so vile. So there's only two interpretations of that tweet. And that is that, one, either he understands he's in the full fucking Nelson of having to adopt whole cloth the cultish outlook that they have and listen and believe even to his own accuser, knowing that he probably didn't do it. Or what I think is most likely is that he knows he did it, and he said, well, I don't want to come out and admit it straight up, but I'll take ownership for it and try and use the caveat that I don't remember, right? Which is, again, some people do that. They, alcohol, whatever, right? So he has literally just had to come out and say, I am everything that I've been railing against on social media for all fuck knows how long, like the past 2 years minimum. Because whenever I've heard his name brought up, it's always been brought up against, just fucking Gamergators and all these other fictitious baddies that he's invented. So we're just going to show you just how much of a hypocrite this guy actually is. We're going to show you some of Devin Faraci's greatest hits right now. So Devin obviously has put out a lot of, fucking pro-feminist, anti-Gamergate tweets. We'll just take a look at him. This was one back in 2013 where he was talking about a movie. I think it might be the Star Trek movie, if I remember rightly, where he's just talking about how it's sexist that a woman's body was briefly shown in what wouldn't necessarily be called partial nudity. And he said it's sexist as presented. She's pretty much just a sexy body and little else. It's poorly written. And he had a discussion with some chaps on Twitter about it, and absolutely maintains that it's a sexist thing to do, to show women's skin in a beautiful female physical form in a film is somehow sexist. And again, you see a lot of feminists espouse this, where it's very strange. The one thing they seem to have in common with extreme Islam is that they would like women to be covered up. And I don't understand that. I've never understood that viewpoint. Devin Faraci then goes on to say in another tweet, was he was one of the big voices about, all the people who didn't like the new Ghostbusters. And there was lots of people who didn't like the new Ghostbusters. I mean, Sam didn't like the new Ghostbusters. It had nothing to do with the all-female cast in it. It had everything to do with it being a piece of shit. It was just a piece of shit. It was just a piece of shit film. And any film as well where it's like, yay, girl power, and every male in it's portrayed as an idiot. And, I can get along with that. Fine. Maybe you are deliberately targeting a comedy to women, and that's fine, like Bridesmaids or whatever, that's fine. I don't really have a problem with that. But then you have the big villain at the end get killed by being shot in the dick. I'd like to see the reaction if there was an evil woman and she was killed by having her breasts sheared off or something. I think people might be a little bit offended by that. I think people might get upset by that. So look, it tried to be a political movie, and then everybody involved with the movie spent their entire time crying about, why are you talking about the politics and not the film? Well, first of all, if we talk about the film, it has no substance and it's shit. And second of all, you brought politics to the table by endlessly talking about how anyone who dislikes the movie is a fucking misogynist. So anyway, fuck the Ghostbusters thing. Apparently, if you didn't like Ghostbusters, you were something called a ghost bro. Like the idea that we would all just be like, fucking having a game of soggy biscuit in a fucking dressing room.
Yeah,
go on,
fuck females, yeah. Misogyny, yeah.
Yeah, high-fiving each other while fucking jerking.
Anyone want to go watch
spot.
the original Ghostbusters? Me too.
Yeah, me too. I love Bill Murray, right? It's just ridiculous, isn't it? Like, never happened. So anyway, he said, he puts this double tweet out. We live in a world with real, true villains. He's right. There's, people who've perpetrated war crimes that still haven't been brought to justice. There's dictators that, are fucking putting oppressive regimes on their people. There's murderers. There's all sorts of people that, have evaded justice. There's some truly terrible people on planet Earth right now. Who do you think Devin Faraci thinks? Well, you've got Peter Thiel, Martin Shkreli, the alt-right, which I've still never seen anyone define what the alt-right is.
True villain.
Gamergators and Ghost Bros Donald Trump. They are all real, true villains, two-dimensional bad guys. So there you go. All of those people, real villains, true villains. And then you can see as well, this is what he thinks about gamers. The only reason these hateful nerds aren't rapists is because they're too terrified of women. So apparently, again, we're all secret rapists.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
What does that even mean?
Yeah. We're all secret, hateful. We all sit there, fucking hell, I'm just too scared of women. That's
I'm
pretty
too
much
scared, so I'm gonna be a rapist. That's how that works. That's how that line of thinking proceeds.
Maybe Devin has a unique insight into the working of the mind. Anyway. There's a blog called One Angry Gamer, which is a pretty good publication, in terms of some of the stories it covers. It's underrated actually. And in this post that was up on there, you can see they covered quite extensively this story, and they highlighted some tweets. And we could have gone and got these as well, but I just wanted to give some props to oneangrygamer.net, which you should totally check out if you haven't already. And you can see here he's talking about the Zoe Quinn and the Anita Sarkeesian harassment, a lot of which has been dismissed and debunked, and certainly has never been linked to an organized, centralized group of people, not like the crash override networks were. There has never been any proof that Gamergate is anything other than a hashtag. Devin Faraci says that's on the heels of the Zoe Quinn stuff and the never-ending harassment of Anita Sarkeesian. What is wrong with gamers? They're zealots. They're ISIS with Steam accounts.
That's a good one, to be fair. That's a line.
Right, and then someone replies with, at least ISIS is upfront about their hating people instead of acting like they want to save journalism or whatever. And Devin Faraci goes, haha, I have more respect for ISIS than the anti-Quinn people.
Reasonable.
So that's reasonable, of course. So let's just put that into context. A consumer-driven movement that wants honesty in reporting, wants critics to go back to critique, not politicizing computer games. They're worse than ISIS in this person's mind. They are worse than ISIS. ISIS, an organization which has beheaded children, which routinely murders, kills, has thrown gay people off buildings. This organization, he has more respect for it than Gamergate. So, I mean, you can't take anybody seriously who says something like that. And of course, he wrote extensively about Gamergate in his blog, even though, again, he's meant to be a film critic. And he put one comment here on October the 15th, 2014. Gamergate isn't about ethics. It's about stopping women from having voices. It's about keeping progressive ideas out of games, and it's about attacking any kind of game that doesn't fit the mainstream shoot-'em-up vision of video games these deeply emotionally stunted people have. You know what stops women having a voice? The fear of sexual assault around men. I think you'll find, actually, if you've ever talked to women, which I have because I'm a functional human being, it's a very real concern. I don't want to feed this myth that, we're all fucking rapists, but there's this hysteria. There's this very real thing. Like, as a guy, you will not be brought up being told, watch yourself when you go out. Make sure you don't go down this alley. You might get attacked. You might get assaulted. Women have they're brought up with a very different real fear, and some women genuinely do fear for it. And that makes them actually adapt their lives accordingly. So you lose the right to criticize people and to call people out for stopping women having voices when actually you're part of one of the worst fears that women actually have, when you're admitting guilt of having done that. So completely fuck this guy in his stupid face. Let's just go on though. There's just a bunch. His Twitter feed is like a comedy. It's like a bad comedy, like a parody account, right? So what's the first one we got here, Sam? What are you going to bring up for me first?
The first one I'm going to go with is where he says, "You should know that I heartily enjoy films with violence against women and men and children. Not animals so much, but all peoples, yes."
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of get that, right? Like, I mean, I don't have a problem with violence in films. Bit of a weird thing to say, and bit of a strange thing that, I often worry about people who are okay with violence towards humans, but not so much. But animals are off the table. Again, you know what I mean?
The old putting humans further down on the list. The old Harambe problem again.
Yeah. Oh, you mean you dehumanize people, right? You have more respect for animals than you do for people. Oh, that's all right. Couldn't see how that could be problematic.
That doesn't sound like the start of a mental illness at all.
No, definitely not. Then, you can see. He tweeted out an article from The Wrap, how Bill Cosby fell from pillar in the black community to pariah, and he gives his own TLDR. He raped a lot of women. He's raped a lot of women, according to Devin Faraci there. So, good. Yeah, you're right. Things like that might reflect badly on you. Then, this was quite funny. He tweeted out, "Here's a dude in an I Love Pussy shirt who was taking pictures of passing cosplayers." Now, what I find interesting about this is, he's condemning this guy, and again, rightly so. You're wearing a T-shirt, I love pussy. Fair enough, he loves pussy. But the joke is that this guy's a fat, bearded creep. Can anyone...
Same.
Yeah, same. Can anyone see, perhaps... some irony, and you can see in the comments on his Instagram, people are again linking it back to Gamergate, saying actually it's about my love of photography and things like this. So, actually it's about ethics in journalism. It says here, did he tell you about ethics in game journalism? This idea that if you want honest reporting, you're obviously a dysfunctional nerd who hates women. Which, you'll see this is happening all across America right now. If you are of a certain viewpoint, you will be pilloried and demonized. You're not allowed to hold it, and you will be characterized as something that you're demonstrably not. That's just how progressives work these days. Unfortunately, it's a bit ridiculous. Hashtag Gamergate in there as well. But, look, Sam, I don't want to... there's some physical similarities there.
Yeah.
It could be his brother.
Doesn't he look like Mr. Han if he was homeless and born in America, kind of, with a beard? Imagine if that beard was grey.
Yeah, you might be honest.
And it said, "I love karate."
I'm just trying to figure out if that's a tooth.
I think so.
No.
Yeah. Why? What do you think it is? A chewing gum?
Yeah, I thought maybe he just might have something in his...
No, he's got one long tooth, and he...
Yeah, well, That's always a bad sign. Like, I just want to say, if you ever meet somebody in life and they've just got one tooth that's bigger than everything else in their mouth, like, it's generally a bad sign. Like, it is a bad sign. You're not going to have a good time usually talking about.
Or journalists with more gum than mouth. It always does them as well. No.
So what else have we got here from? This was a banger. So he tweeted out that one of his followers. This is going back where this is 2009. Lindsay says I look like a rapist.
Lindsay needs to be hired.
Lindsay, hey, fucking hell, who knew? Good on you, Lindsay. Right. So next up, he tweeted something out, which was a link to an article put up at bulletmedia.com. Stop molesting women at concerts. So again, this virtue signaling. I mean, the guy replies and makes the immediate point that would spring to my mind. How about we just stop molesting women? Is that all right?
Yeah,
can we do that?
It?
Yeah. What does this need to be said? Stop molesting women. Yeah, I wasn't going to at concerts. Hang on. What about the other places? Like, you know. Yeah. Do it there too, but just specifically at concerts. Concerts is the big one apparently. So yeah, he tweeted that out. What else have we got here? This is ridiculous. I mean, you know when like sometimes you'll blurt out an insult towards somebody, and really it says more about you. You're like, where the fuck did that come from?
I bet you're gay and you secretly hide it from your parents. Leave me alone.
What? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's strange, isn't it? Right? When people do shit like that. And here we have someone, this chap, I think quite reasonable, has said you're an unbalanced dude. I mean, we went through his Twitter feed, by the way.
Definitely unbalanced.
You're going to see. Like, this guy, like, 50% of his Twitter feed is just him rolling around drunk, tweeting.
I'm
like,
so
just
drunk right now.
Yeah, like, just tweeting, drunk, gonna buy some contact lens fluid. Like, what is wrong with you, mate? Like, why are you tweeting this, Like, we again, functional people just go out and have a drink and enjoy themselves. You don't just roll around in some, like, frenzy of some kind, randomly updating people on social media about how drunk you are. But anyway, he said, you're an unbalanced dude, but you have a lot of friends, so that must mean there's good in you. I really hope you get help. And then just the immediate response, you seem like a rapist.
Yeah.
Yep, reasonable. Reasonable behaviour. What else? What else have we got here in the gem? Well, I mean, just talking about the drunk thing.
Yeah.
This week I got drunk and ordered a multicoloured light bulb you control through Wi-Fi. I mean, I think
what a
we can link
crazy
that.
man.
Yeah, I think we can link that back to being unstable. Like, definitely share that one. Then I'd like to apologise in advance to everyone who ever has to deal with me while I'm drunk. I think, Devin, maybe some people deserve more of an apology than others, mate. Yeah.
Maybe a heartfelt one, not to the guy who you bought contact lens fluid off, but the person you were at a bar with. How about that?
Yeah. And you can see, this idea that he gets fucking, blackout drunk and does stuff. Someone says, remember when you got a drink thrown at me? It missed you? Good times. And he goes, I have no idea if this is true or not. Yeah, well, this is a recurring problem in your life, Devin, and perhaps something you should have addressed some time ago. So it's good to know he is. And then, of course, this picture here. This is Crime Stoppers.
We literally just put this in so you can all see what's happening here.
This is what's happening here, guys. Drunk in a tux. Just unreal, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? Do you know what I love about this, right? There's some sort of weird... Do you see where his forehead goes off into the horizon and the hair starts growing out over the top? Isn't that weird? Like,
yeah, it looks like he's just shaved the top of his head.
Yeah. Like he's trying to give himself extra forehead space to look more intelligent or something.
Like Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff Girls. Bigger his brain is, the more he can fit in.
Reference game incredibly on point. Let's have a look here. This is obviously what he likes to do in his spare time. Watching a polar bear rape walruses.
I'm sure you're not mentally ill, miss.
Is that, does he mean he's at the zoo?
Sure your mind's sound.
Has he got it on VHS?
Has he paid someone to draw it for him?
What, like a flick book?
He's commissioned it, mate.
Johnny Coffey. Ain't never seen me. No flicker show. Oh, it's a polar bear raping a walrus. I don't want to see
my favourite show.
It's unreal, isn't it? What's that about? Watching a polar bear rape walruses. Where's he got that from? What is the context of that? I don't know. But again, you'll notice he does bring up the word rape quite a bit, doesn't he, on Twitter? Does love to talk about it. But we go back to his hatred of Ghost Bros. As I said, these are in no particular order. This was about the Leslie Jones hack, which of course was awful. Awful to have any private pictures put out, no matter who it happens to. And you can see he describes it as terrorism, which again, it's like, can't you just condemn it for what it is? Can't you just say it's really nasty? But why has it got to have some sort of wide-reaching agenda? Like, there was people who were saying that it was a racist attack. There was no evidence of that. There was people, like this, who go the other hand and say, this is terrorism. This was targeted because of her role in a film. And, blah, blah, blah. There was people who said Milo Yiannopoulos inspired and coerced people to do it. No evidence to support that as well. Like, why can't we just say the facts? Why can't we just say something bad happened to somebody that probably didn't, not probably, definitely didn't deserve it. And we'll just leave it at that. Just condemn the act for what it is. No, can't do that. Can't do that. It's got to be terrorism. It's terrorism. The Ghost Bros are out. No. The high-fiving fucking Ghost Bros. Committing terrorism.
And jetting on biscuits.
Yeah, jetting on biscuits and leaving them. I don't get it, because why isn't it enough? Why terrorism? Like, does he not understand what terrorism actually is? Like, it's definitely not an act of terrorism to take somebody's mobile phone and leak their nudes. It's lots of things, but I don't think it meets classification of terrorism. What's the political goal? What's the overreaching goal that they hope to achieve? We're going to release more nudes unless, unless
Harambe stays on Les Dog's website forever.
Yeah, it's just, it's not terrorism. It's not terrorism. But that's the kind of hyperbole and ridiculousness. Again, this virtue signaling that he wants to show everybody, look how right on I am. Look how feminist I am. Allegedly commit sexual assault in my spare time.
Speaking
what
of
else
which, mate, look at his favourite film.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of 2009 again. Redneck County Rape may seriously be the best film I've seen in 2009. Cool.
Good
for you, mate. Then again, 2010, snuggled up with my girl, watching a ghost rape movie. Obviously not like Ghostbusters.
No. The sequel.
Let's not do a bit on this. But yeah, who does that? Still got my girl. Yeah, I'm gonna watch a ghost rape movie. Smell my fingers. Yeah, okay. What a fucking piece of shit this guy is. Interviewed Todd Solondz. Of course, he's a famous director. Did Happiness, great film. I think it's actually all up on YouTube. You can go check it out. He says his next film is no child rape, molestation, or masturbation. Sorry, fans. And I suppose that's not so much about him, but again, there's the rape. The rape word just has to keep coming up. Picture of a party, sluts trying to figure out rock band. He's dropped the word slut.
He's dropped the S word.
He's dropped the word slut. Strange attitudes towards
Can't fight
women.
on both sides of the fence, mate.
Yeah, and this is the guess where the final point. There's another ridiculous tweet of his. I'm about to get rich with this concept. Boobs cruise. So remember, if you think Ghostbusters is bad, you're a misogynist, you're a terrorist. If you want to create something called Boobs Cruise, that's okay. That's even acceptable to joke about.
Also
but if you say Ghostbusters is a bad movie, if you say Ghostbusters is a bad movie, you're a terrible human being. This was a strange one. He had a pretty wild 2009. I think we can safely say. Watching a broad shoot up in her vag. I've never even.
I've never saw that. Fair dude.
No, I've never seen.
Fair play to the guy. He's going to the right kind of pubs.
Was that before or after he watched the polar bear raping the walrus? Maybe at the same time. Who knows? And then, this is classic as well. Like, definitely stable. Definitely a stable person. Screamed cunt at a guy just now.
The fact he tweeted right after as well.
Yeah.
Cunt! That's gone on Twitter.
I've seen people like that on the streets, mate. You know what I mean? Like shouting it at pigeons.
Yeah,
and
they
that,
usually
you know
check in bins for food as well. Like.
Yeah, exactly. Well, mate, he looks like he probably has. He's definitely ate out of a bin.
Yeah, he's had a bin somewhere at some point.
Yeah, he's had a bin somewhere. You know for a fact that he's
going
out
for the crusts. Meatball marinara, fucking my lucky day.
My lucky day. So anyway, look, the point is he's a very deeply fucking confused person, and somebody who seems to really not understand like what side of the fence he wants to be on. And this is why I think a lot of this comes back to my point that this virtue signaling, this social justice warrior stuff, a lot of it is about making money, you know. People don't realize that. A lot of these people join this cult because, you know, kind of like Scientology or some shit. It's about making money. And I'm going to tell you why. A lot of the people that, you know, subscribe to these ultra progressive values, progressive to the point of being regressive, you know, they think about it. They're college students from middle to upper class backgrounds. They're almost all white, which is hilarious given how they talk about representation being an issue. But generally, they're all linked by having, you know, that middle to upper class economy, an upper middle class to upper class. It's got to be said because it's expensive to go to college these days. And these people will just come out and they'll give money. They'll give money on things like Patreon because they can afford to. They'll buy any old shit merchandise that says to them, "Hey, look how progressive I am." They'll do that. They'll go and watch films. I mean, I saw during the Ghostbusters, heyday when it was still in the cinemas, the remake. They were organizing viewings of groups of women to go, you know, feminists to go and watch the movie in multiple sittings over the course of a day. So people were like, "Go, hey, I've already seen it 4 times. Who's coming to see it again with me?" Because it was so desperate to artificially inflate the profits. Because so these people have money, and if you pander to them, you can make money. And I think that's just what Devin Faraci was doing. Because if you look at some of his older output, as we have, you can see this is a guy who's trying to be a fucking edgelord. Like, he just doesn't know what he wants to be. I think he just realized at some point, you know, there's no money in being me. There's just no money in being me. And it's really weird because there's one instance, and I guess this is where we'll end this video. There's one instance where he really baited feminists. There's one instance where he did something that was so obviously going to get a rise out of feminists. It blows my mind. It blows my mind that he would ever then try and espouse this idea that, you know, Gamergate is a terrible people and stuff like this. And he posted a trailer on Birth Movies Death, the website that he became editor of. And it was a trailer from Fright Fest. And Fright Fest is fucking great. If you love horror movies like I do, and we're going to put a video out for Halloween talking about some of our favorite horror stuff. It's just all people who are involved, directors, stars, people turn up there and do Q&As. They show new and upcoming films, indie horror films, classic horror films. It's just a celebration of all things horror. And they had this specific trailer, which basically was saying, don't text or have your phone on during the movie being on. And I don't even know if we can show this because of YouTube's rule.
Yeah.
Oh, Sam.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine.
It's fine. I'm not too sure.
I can cut it off before the bad part. I'll pause it.
Yeah, okay. Well, in this trailer, basically, there's a guy behind a woman who's using a mobile phone during the movie being on. The guy stabs her in the neck from behind, then proceeds to stand up on tiptoes and fuck the wound. I'm not joking. This is a thing. It happened. And obviously this is, sick, grotesque, over the top, violent humor. And it ends, well, it let's just say it ends when it ends. And he put this out there. And then when feminists said this is normalizing violence towards women, he called them pearl clutchers, as in, this idea that you would clutch up your pearl necklace and, oh, think of the children, this kind of thing. So he condemned in 2012 feminist outcry towards violence towards women in movies. So I don't understand why he suddenly then changes his mind when Gamergate comes around. And it's like I told you, the reason people do the game dropping is for money. It's all about money. It's about money. It's about trying to have cultural relevance to a big touchstone, issue. And it's about trying to broaden your audience, because these people will blindly support anybody as long as they completely adhere to all of the values of the social justice movement. But you've got to follow them entirely. So anyway, I thought it was worth highlighting this guy. I mean, he subsequently stood down from the website that he ran, the Birth, Movies, and Death. Just a small statement put out saying, this weekend allegations were made about my past behavior. Because I take these types of claims seriously, I feel my only honorable course of action is to step down from my position as editor-in-chief. And it's such a bizarre idea, because it's like trying to take ownership without admitting you've done it. So who the fuck knows? I mean, I think you can see this guy's all over the fucking place. He's got a lot of issues that he needs to resolve. And that's just the thing. The final thought in this video is, imagine being the kind of person that rolls around drunk, watches animals raping other species of animals in your spare time, that tries to have edgy tweets that fall on deaf ears, that can't handle their life as a film critic and has to try and jump into things where maybe they're not particularly well versed or knowledgeable, just because they feel insecure about themselves. And then imagine all of that being true and then believing you're in a position to tell other people how to live. It's truly shocking. But honestly, in the rogues gallery of the social justice warrior cult, Devin Faraci's just another idiot, just another one of them. There's many, many more, and I'm sure many more are going to get caught out in acts of wanton hypocrisy and deplorable acts of sexual assault and God knows what else before the end of it, before people realize maybe, just maybe, we backed the wrong horse. The mainstream media might just realize that some of these people they're putting on pedestals are absolute shitbags. Anyway, that's the video. Thanks all for watching. We'll see you next time.